Hi, you're watching Bike Routes of Brum, a channel dedicated to finding safe cycle routes across Birmingham. In this video we'll be cycling from Bromsgrove to Longbridge, and in this route we'll be using the National Cycle Network Route 5, and it should take about 50 minutes to cycle. Seeing as I've made a couple of videos using the NCN5, I thought I'd add another section of it here. It's not the easiest route to cycle, as I forgot how hilly some of the area is. Some areas are really badly surfaced, but I think this route is a perfect encapsulation of the National Cycle Network and all its positives and faults. The route also shows the relatively new section of the Ray Valley route that was opened back in May. At least it was new when I filmed this video. I know it's now November, but it was new then. I've put a link to the route into the description below so you can download the GPX file for yourself. So we're going to start our journey in the centre of Bromsgrove outside of the Queen's Head pub, and we're going to take the alley to its left and follow that down onto Market Street here, where we'll take a left. Don't worry, the road is quite wide, but we're not going to be on it for very long because we take this right onto Recreation Road. Now this route forms part of the National Cycle Route 5, which I've covered in 2 other videos before, so theoretically you should be able to link this one with the one that I've done from Sturchley to Longbridge. You just do it in reverse. And we're going to take a right here onto Church Fields, and basically this first bit of the route kind of goes through some of the back streets of Bromsgrove. So we're going to take this left here onto Church Fields Road. Apparently it's the same bit, but it's quite quiet along here. As you can see, you can't cut through. They're kind of narrow little streets, so you're not going to come against too much fast moving traffic around here, or at least you shouldn't, because it'd be quite scary if somebody was bombing it down these tiny little roads. Now we're going to take a left onto Providence Road. These bits here are signposted. You should be able to see, hopefully, if you look closely, little blue signs on the route, which actually made it quite easy to navigate. So left onto Broad Street here, and then right onto Melbourne Road. I hadn't cycled this route before when doing it. I'd only looked at it on Google Maps, and I found it fairly easy to follow, to be honest. For all they could be better signposted, it wasn't too difficult to navigate your way around, especially as thinking back, it does all look quite similar, these bits of kind of Bromsgrove suburbia, but I didn't find it too difficult. The one thing I will say about this route, it doesn't look too bad here, but it is quite hilly. But we go right now onto Crabtree Lane and onto our first bit of kind of park. Apparently this has a road name, Silliwan Road or something like that. Cars can't go down it, it's just for cycling and walking. It's not lit from what I could see. There doesn't seem to be any sort of street lights or anything, so just be careful if you're doing these in the winter. It might be best to save this route for the summer, which, considering this is meant to be a National Cycle Network thing, it always surprises me how bare some of these places can be. This is meant to be the safe way of getting around the country, and quite often they're just not that much money has been put into them, which, considering I think it is a charity rather than an actual government scheme, I can understand why, but they do just seem to be kind of cobbled together. Now this bit on Perryfields Road, it's probably not the nicest bit to cycle along. It does feel quite like it could be quite busy. I don't know, I don't live along here, I've not really been along this road before, but it's got the feel of a busier road. There is a service road that runs along there parallel on your right, so it might be worth just nipping onto that bit, and I think it will punt you out just a bit further up. So if you're not so confident riding on the road here, I'd maybe consider jumping on the service road. It is meant to be 30, but whether people actually drive 30 along here, it doesn't feel like people would. It feels like the kind of one that people would kind of go 40, 50, especially at night time. So I'd just be careful there. But we're coming up now to the junction with Stourbridge Road, and this bit is a shared use path. Again, it just feels like it's kind of cobbled together because it's a 40-mile-an-hour road, so they've just gone, oh god, we'll just whack a sign on there. But when I've been cycling along and seen pedestrians, it doesn't feel like you should be sharing the path really. It's just yet another one of those kind of lazy things that town planners do when they're trying to come up with a cycle route. They just go, oh, we'll make it shared use, and then we don't have to think about putting actual infrastructure in there. We nip around the roundabout though through this nice little cut through, and again this bit is meant to be shared pathway, I assume, but again it just feels there's not really any signage there. So I nipped up onto this little bit, and we're going under the M42 I think here, and once we're out from under the bridge we're going to take this right onto this path which leads us onto, well, I've written Battlefield Brook there, but I think this is actually called Milton Road. The brook is the stream next to it. I spent ages trying to work out if Battlefield, like this route, was named after some sort of battlefield that was here. I think it's just named after the brook. So my research was basically a load of nonsense. This is actually a really nice bit to cycle along, and I do think it's lit. Be interesting to see if anybody has cycled this on the dark at night time, but I can see street lights here, which is a lot better than what I thought, considering I've just been moaning on a different section of the video about lack of lighting. This bit actually seems pretty good. It's used basically as a nip through into Cat's Hill. It's pretty well surfaced, to be honest. One of the big things about this route really is there's a lot of it's quite rural compared to the videos that I normally film, so I never really know what it's going to be like. This bit actually I think would be quite it'd be alright to cycle at night. At least it would feel a lot safer than some of the other places where there's just no lighting at all, and compared to some of the canals that I've filmed on, this does feel slightly better. Now as we come around this corner we're leaving the kind of rural bit of the route and onto Milton Road properly, seeing as some of the other roads around here are named after Shelley, Byron, and there is a poet's court as well. I'm guessing this little bit of the estate is all named after authors, perhaps a nod to Bromsgrove's rich literary history, which I kind of was going to say that jokingly and then realised actually there was half decent poet from Bromsgrove called A. Houseman, so maybe I should shut up. We go around this roundabout anyway, and we then nip onto Golden Cross Lane, and from here we're then going to take a left onto Green Lane. Thankfully the signpost is still fairly good at this point of the route, so if you're keeping your eyes peeled it's still relatively difficult to get lost. Now the area we're in now is called Cat's Hill, which is just north of Bromsgrove. I've always lumped the two together, but I guess they are separate to an extent. Now we're going to take a right onto Woodrow Lane, and this is one big long straight road that we're basically going to follow up until we get onto the Birmingham Road. Now this road I think has the potential to be quite busy because it's one of the main routes onto basically up to the motorway, so just be aware. I think it is a 30 along here, but whether people are going to bomb it or not I don't know. Just keep your eyes peeled, and we go over this roundabout and carry straight on. Now part of the problem with these long straight bits of road are that I've got to fill the time somehow to talk when there's not really that much going on. I think overall this route is not for like commuting at all. If you're desperate to commute in by bike and you live in Bromsgrove, to me the best thing to do would be to cycle the reverse of this, go to Aston Fields, get the train and hop off the train in Bourneville and then cycle along the canal or join the Ray Valley route from Sturchley there. This is like, it takes 50 minutes to get from Bromsgrove to Longbridge here. It's not particularly nice to cycle along this bit. I wouldn't say it's great for families or anything like that. It's not really a protected cycle route in any way. I wanted to film it really because it links up bits of the National Cycle Route 5 that I've done before. So I was trying to, you can daisy chain these routes. But as we come to this busy section here of Hales Owen Road, we nip across here, and you cut through this kind of like alley onto Birmingham Road. Now there is a sign there. I didn't realise as I went past it that says cyclist dismount. This is classic National Cycle Route Network. You know, it's meant to be a cycle like a proper cycle route, and yet there's loads of bits where you're having to like hop off your bike, or it's like not very well maintained. And thank God we don't have to cycle along the busy Hales Owen Road. This bit is fairly quiet because it doesn't really go anywhere. So I don't think it's not too bad to cycle along here, but overall this isn't the most effective way to get from Bromsgrove to Longbridge. But the whole point of this is cycling. This isn't jumping on a train, Routes of Brum. This is Bike Routes of Brum. So if you did want to cycle it, this is how you do it. But when I put this route then into Commute, which is what I usually use to show the routes and generate the GPX file, usually when I generate a route it comes up as like easy, but this one came up as intermediate. I should have looked at that before I actually decided to do this, because this bit was fine. I didn't really have an issue with it, but what I forgot was that this route basically takes you in between the Lickey Hills and the Waisley Hills, and there seems to be this bit of South Birmingham where regardless of what happens you have to go over a massive hill to get between Worcestershire and Birmingham. And I guess maybe that's where there's some sort of historic difference between the two parts. When I usually plan a route I just stick it into Google Maps, but Google Maps doesn't really show you terrain, and that's why this bit here is really nice, and it's a nice curved bit, Red Hill Lane. I was having a great time going down this hill thinking, oh okay, nice. Maybe I'm going between the Lickey Hills and the Waisley Hills, maybe this is like a nice cut between the two. What I didn't realise was this now turns into a massive hill, and basically I'm not sure whether I'm going to be able to speed it up or not. I think rather than you having to watch me or listen to me describe myself having to go up this massive hill, I'm just going to stop talking and play some music over it. Bonus points for anyone that can work out the point where I actually got off the bike and walked. In my defence, I think I was recovering from illness when I actually filmed this video. But it's bloody steep. But now we're into Rubery, and we took a left back there onto School Lane, and now we're kind of into, I'm not sure whether this bit's actually classed as Worcestershire or whether it's Birmingham. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, we're on the very edge of Birmingham now. We're out of Bromsgrove. And we're on Gunners Lane now onto Barrington Road, and this bit is nice and smooth to cycle along. There's little bumpy bits here, but we take a left onto Hillview Road. Now, like the other bits in Cat's Hill and Bromsgrove, it is actually signposted in the way that you just have to keep an eye out basically when you come to what looks like it might be a junction. There are little blue signs on a lamppost or something like that. It's not the best. What I think they could do is, especially if this is like part of the national cycle route, just put a little marking in the road, because quite often there are bits with like pictures of bikes to show that this is a shared space. I don't know why they couldn't just put a little bit of paint to just indicate the route. It would be a bit easier to follow, but I think that's a complaint more for the National Cycle Network broadly than it is for this particular route. If you keep your eyes peeled, you shouldn't get too lost, but you do have to pay attention. One of the nice bits around here is the fact that this is one of the few bits of the route where it is really nicely tarmac, so you can just kind of cruise around. It wasn't difficult cycling along this bit, but we have now meandered our way around kind of the back of Rubery to avoid the A38, and we're going to take a left now onto Callowbrook Lane. And ultimately our intention now is to try and link up with the Ray Valley route, which starts a bit later. Now this little bit coming up is kind of confusing, and I will ignore what is about to happen. You cross over and onto Caldey Way, and I would just keep going. The actual route, and the reason why there's a weird edit, is because I overshot it, then had to go back and film, because the actual National Cycle Route Network takes you down and weaves through this kind of housing estate just to punt you out at the end of where Caldey Way would put you. Doesn't really make any sense. You just ignore what's just happened then and just keep going down to the end of Caldey Way. That makes way more sense to do. Now we take a right here, and this road does feel quite busy. I mean, it wasn't busy when I filmed it obviously, but it feels quite wide, and I get the impression people might bomb it round here. You could always use the pavement, but we're going to take a left onto Arden Road and then cut into this little bit of Arden Walk, and this is really, I don't know, to me feels like where the Ray Valley route would kind of start. We're now onto these kind of shared paths, and it does feel like this is the start of the Ray Valley route into Balham Wood. Now this is a bit that, you know, despite kind of being from roughly this area, like Bromsgrove and South Birmingham, I've never been around here. I didn't really know this was a wood or there was anything here. It was actually really nice to cycle through. You can tell that they've put a bit of money into here. I think the River Ray does just flow down here. It was quite well surfaced. It's kind of the street lights through here, so I can imagine in the winter it's not horrendous to cycle through. It's not like you're going to be in the pitch black like other bits of the route. I don't know how safe it is or anything like that, but ignore what is about to happen. Basically, I got completely confused. The old Ray Valley route would take you off to the right there. The new one is here, and so again, I had to double back because I wasn't really confused. I was a bit confused about where this goes. Once you come out of there, go left at those traffic lights, and then just join here. Now, this is the new Ray Valley route. This is the new bit that has been created. I think when Modwin Homes were building the housing estate over near where the old Rover plant was. Probably part of it was that they had to create this new route for the public. It's way better than what was here before, and it's way easier to get into Longbridge. This thing is so much nicer than what there was before, which would have taken you basically down and up to the McDonald's on the A38, if you know where I'm talking about, and then you would have just have to cycle along the pavement. This whole bit has sculptures along it. And once you come out of this forest, they've built a new bridge, and it feels so much nicer to cycle like along this bit than it ever did to go just along a busy dual carriageway basically. You can tell they've put quite a lot of money into it. This was filmed back in May. I'm not sure how much more construction's been done. I haven't actually cycled along here since I filmed this. I think it'd only been open about a week when I got around to filming this, and already it was quite busy and well used from what I could see. But overall, this is a really nice addition. I think they've done a really good job, and yeah, I think it's made the Ray Valley route a hell of a lot nicer, like building up to Longbridge. So we're going to cross over this zebra crossing, and you can just about see Longbridge town centre, or the kind of retail-y park bit that is the town centre in the distance. I think overall I really enjoyed cycling along this bit. The surface was pretty good. Don't know how it holds up over the winter, but I guess we'll have to see. Now we cut under the A38 there and onto this kind of little boardwalk bit, and we are now going up, and we're going to join the road just here. And like I ended the Longbridge one, Sturtshrews to Longbridge outside Herbert's Yard, we're going to end outside Herbert's Yard here as well. Thanks again for watching the video. I hope that you found it useful. If you've got any other ideas for alternate routes or want to mention anything that I've forgotten, please feel free to comment below. I try to upload these videos as much as I can, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any routes. Thanks again for watching.